Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shelby and today I'm going to be doing my winter TBR. As you guys can see, I am back home for the holidays. I moved out of my apartment last week, I think, and I'll be returning in January, but until then all my videos will be filmed at home. I am super happy to be back, of course. I am so happy to have my bookshelf again. I really missed all of my books, but today we are here to talk about all the books that I want to read throughout December, spilling into January. I don't normally do TBR videos. I'm more of a wrap-up person, but this month I decided to switch it up a bit because I am really excited about a bunch of the books that I am planning on reading, and I really want to share them with you, and maybe you guys will get some recommendations for winter books for you to read. I definitely have a range of genres on my list. Some are middle grade, some are thrillers, some are fantasy. So just basically it's all the books that I want to read and finish up by the end of 2020. It is ambitious, I'm not gonna lie. Normally I set much smaller TBRs for myself, but I'm super excited about all of these books and I'm just praying I can get to all of them by the end of the year. So without further ado, let's begin. The first book on my list is a reread. I have mentioned in previous videos that I want to reread my favorite book from the Chronicles of Narnia series for this winter time, and that would be The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I absolutely adore this book. It has been just such a special part of my life for so very long. I listened to all the audiobooks when I was a kid. I fell asleep listening to these stories, and they've just like wormed their way into my heart. For those of you who may not know what this series is about, it is about children who find their way into this magical land called Narnia through different portals. This specific book tells the story of the four Pevensey children, Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy, who all find themselves sucked into this magical world of Narnia where the dark forces of winter are trying to crush out the light forces of summer. It is so magical. I think it is the perfect wintertime read. There's just so much adventure and happiness and sibling love that this book just always warms my heart. So I'm super excited to dive back into the magical world of Narnia. The other middle grade I have on this list is one that I've heard so many amazing things about, and I think it'll be perfect to read in the winter time, and that would be Green Glass House by Kate Milford. From what I understand, this tells the story of 12-year-old Milo who lives with his adoptive parents at this green glass house inn, and he thinks that the winter time is going to be a quiet season, but all of a sudden all of these mysterious and secretive guests start arriving at the house, and Milo has to figure out what's happening with all of these people arriving and what the big mystery behind it is. I believe that they have to like decipher clues, and it's a whole adventure, and I think it's going to be so much fun. I love a good middle grade book. I don't read them as often as I'd like to, but I just think they're just so magical and they take you back to such a happy place. While my actual middle school years were not that great, I did love the books I was reading during that time, so I'm really excited to get back in that kind of headspace, and I just think this is going to be such a fun wintry adventure, so I'm really looking forward to reading it. The next book I'm going to share with you is a YA mystery thriller, and that would be Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This, I believe, takes place at a prestigious boarding school where this big kidnapping mystery took place many years before, and now students are trying to figure out what happened years after the fact. I think we specifically follow one student named Stevie who is very determined to solve this case even though all these forces are working against her. Once again, I have heard so many amazing things about this book, specifically from some of my really good book friends, so I'm really excited to check it out. I think mysteries and thrillers are also super fun to read in the darker months. I just like can imagine myself just like drinking tea in the dark with my like fairy lights on, just reading this book. So I'm super excited to get to it. I think it's just going to be a really fun read, and as I get more into the mystery and thriller genre, I'm just really enjoying it, and it's a genre that I haven't really delved into in the past, so I'm really excited to be reading this. So the next few books I have on this list are some young adult books. I believe they are all fantasy, or at least paranormal. The first book is the third book in a series that I've really been enjoying recently, and that would be Two Dark Reigns by Kendare Blake. This is the third book in the Three Dark Crowns series. Once again, this is a series I have talked a lot about on my channel. I absolutely love Kendare Blake's writing and her storytelling and the world building. This tells a story about three queens, each with equal right to rule. So when all the queens turn a certain age, they are required to fight to the death to see which one will end up wearing the crown. It is is definitely a dark fantasy. I think it is so interesting. As I said, the world building is beautiful, the magic system is amazing, and the entire concept of the story was just so intriguing right from the start, and I cannot wait to see what happens in this third book. So I'm super excited for it, and if you kind of want a dark fantasy series to read in these colder months, I highly recommend Three Dark Crowns. The next book is another YA witchy paranormal book, and I actually don't know much about it. I saw it at Barnes & Noble and it gave me very wintry vibes. The word winter is even in the name of the book, so I knew I had to pick it up, and that would be Winterwood by Shea Ernshaw. I already love Shea Ernshaw as a writer. I read her book called The Wicked Deep, which is like a dark paranormal book about three witches who come back every summer to enact revenge on the town that wronged them. From what I understand, this follows a girl named Nora Walker and her family. The Walkers are all kinds of witches who have a very special connection to the woods, but then one day this boy named Oliver Huntsman comes in, and he has had like a bad effect on the woods, and she has to try to fix what is wrong with it. So it's just basically, you know, a fantasy set in a mysterious, cursed, dark wood, and I love those kinds of books. I think they're so atmospheric and so wonderful to read about, so I'm really excited to read Winterwood this winter. Plus, look at the inside of it. Like, look at that. That is stunning. I love looking on the inside cover jackets because you just like never know what you're gonna find, and this is beautiful. This is absolutely stunning. Next up is another book that has been on my TBR for ages and I've just never gotten around to getting, and that would be The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. First of all, this cover just like exudes winter aesthetic. Just reading the back of the book, it kind of reminds me of like a Russian Cinderella story. This tells a story about a girl named Vasya and her family who all honor these household spirits, and her mother used to tell her stories about all these wonderful demons and spirits that lived in their village, but then the father brings home a new stepmother and she forbids the family from worshiping and praying to their spirits, and bad things start to happen, and Vasya then has to save the town and her family. That is a very basic summary. As I said, I don't know a ton about this. All I know is that everyone who reads it loves it. It's super short. I think it's going to be a wonderful read. Honestly, in a past Fairy Loot box, they included some artwork from this book, and that is really what hooked me. Seeing the characters like drawn out on this art print, I was like, oh my god, I need to read this book. I need to know who these people are and what their story is. So I'm super excited to finally get to do that, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. So the next book is another young adult, new adult fantasy, and I'm super excited to read it because I have been looking forward to this book for so long, and that would be How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate by Holly Black. So this is kind of a prequel, I think, to the Cruel Prince series by Holly Black, where we get to learn about the Cruel Prince himself, Cardan. We get to see his origins and kind of how he became the twisted fae that he is in the books. I got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, which is absolutely stunning. I mean, the cover and the inside is just so beautiful. I mean, look at that. That is so pretty. It's just such a stunning embossing on the title page, and all of the stories throughout the book are illustrated. So there's just like so many beautiful illustrations throughout the book, and I think it's just once again going to be a really atmospheric read, a little bit dark, a little bit twisted, kind of perfect for the winter time. So I'm super excited to dive into it. Once again, this isn't that long, but I think it's going to be such a great read, especially because I've loved all the other books in this series. So the final book I'm going to try to read within December, maybe January, is one that also has been such a talked about book by everyone in the book community. I mean, everyone is raving about this book. It is an adult fantasy, I believe, and it's just gotten the highest of praise, and that would be The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I believe it follows a magical caseworker who is sent to this orphanage to decide whether 6 magical children are indeed too dangerous. When he gets to the orphanage, he meets the head of the orphanage, who is obviously hiding some secrets of his own, and I assume that just it's a whole adventure. I don't really know much about it besides what I've read on the back cover, but you know, I have heard it from so many people that I really trust that this is such an amazing book, and I am so excited to get to it soon. So I'm just really looking forward to reading this one. And those are the books that I I want to read in the winter time. Hopefully I'll get to them by the end of the year, but if not, I'll probably be reading these through January as well. I am just super excited for all these super fun and cozy winter reads. I love winter time. Though fall is my favorite season, I do love winter. I love lights. I love all the celebrations and emphasis on love and family. So I'm just really looking forward to spending the holidays with you guys this year. If you guys like this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Hit the notification bell to get updates on when I post. I post every single Monday, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye!